Alright, what up everybody? Welcome to the stream. So, today we're here in the brand new Falcon 50. And we're headed out from here in Boise all the way over to Fort Lauderdale. The Fort Lauderdale scenery is actually kind of new too, so there is that. But yeah, here's the Falcon 50. We'll actually enter the cockpit here, and then we'll head out so we can do the walk around of it. Whenever I go between the inside and then the outside, it always freezes up a little bit. So, anywho, here we are on the outside of it. Send a quick text real quick. Alright, so let's do a little pre-flight, and by that I really just mean taking off the chocks. There's your little cover for the static port. Removing this. Here's your chocks. We'll remove the chocks. Come down here, and let me make sure that my fans are in the right profile. Over here you have the baggage compartment. And it's actually kind of cool because you can kind of climb up into it. There you can see the lighting for it, but we'll close that out. We'll walk back here. Here you can see the FBO, some two dudes over there, and here's the hangar, Gladys Piper Western Aircraft. We'll open up the door. Alright, and we'll head on up. There we go. Alright, so into the cockpit of the Falcon 50. What we'll do here is we'll close up the door. If I can find it. Here you can see the oxygen pressure. Here's your cockpit here. First thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to pop open the EFB. And we'll go into the Contrail FA50 app. And then we'll go into the weight and balance. Download the flight plan, and that'll apply all of this. We're actually, if you look, we are slightly outside of our window here. So what we need to do is shift ourselves back this way, and if we do that by adding some baggage, we're now within our weight and balance. All right, so let's open up the aircraft checklist again. The walk around is complete. Here you have standard, and I think it's about the same for all of them. But anywho, we'll do the pre-start with the APU. We'll do an APU starts DC power selector, which it's not using that. So the batteries, we'll do our flow, and then we'll run through our checklist here. So real quick, what I'm going to do is make sure that our parking brakes is set. I do believe we have the torque link in. If we go into the ground operations, there's torque link. Okay. Go back to the aircraft. So if I pull this in, I can't remember how it's... There we go. It's a little finicky, but anywho. Come up top, battery 1, battery 2. Voltage is in the green, and we'll go ahead and tie the bus ties and get some amperage there. And it's going to drop. Okay, we'll get the APU started up. So we will come down here to the APU, get the APU master switch on, the generator on, and we'll start up the APU. Alright, while the APU is starting up, we'll go down to the checklist, and batteries are on, checked. Park brake set, fuel quantity. If we look at our fuel quantity that we are taking, we're taking 13,644 pounds of fuel. And if we look down here, we're looking at about 40,000 or 40,500, Jesus, and those. So let's say that's 80. We'll just do. I'll have my calculator up. 40,500 times 2 plus 40,000. Let's just say 600. That's 121,000 pounds of fuel. And again, we said 130, so 6,000. So then if we look at the rear tanks here, we're looking at about, let's say this is 500, because if this is times 10, yet another 0, that's 1,000. Because 100 times 10 is 1,000. Hold on. Not 121,000, Jesus. It's 4,500 times 2 plus 4,600. 13,600 pounds, which is what we have. So, because this is about 400 plus about 800. So, that's just about enough fuel for what we're taking. We'll get that back up here. And we'll go ahead and continue down the checklist. So, fuel quantity is tracked, counters zeroed, and gross weight counter set. So to do that, we'll open this up, and we'll click sync weight, and it'll set that over here. Okay, takeoff computations done, radios are off, generator switches, take a look up here. Generator switches are on. Engine computer switches are on. Start selector switches, ground start, which they are on. Transfer pumps are off. Boost pump number 2 will get on, and these are off, and the transfer pumps are off. On. Tiger. Right there. ATI's off, windshield off, static selector, normal compass. Alright. Actually kind of loud. Brake selector number 1 on. If you look down here, brake off, off, on. So number 1 brake is on. Standby pumps off, that's all fine. Pressurization. So we'll also set the pressurization now. Okay, so we're taking it up to 330 initially. So this is right over here. 330. We'll set our magic borrow ref. It's fine, and this is all fine. Mach trim, air brake, it's all fine. Bus ties, it's fine. Radios. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll get the AC1, 2 on, and then the EFIS 1, 2 Radio Master on. It's all of this. Number 2 boost pump. Yep, it's fine. Nav lights on. This is just testing all of that, which is fine. Inverters. Then we'll go, so first standby, then align. So we'll put it into the nav mode, and like that. And then we'll set up the FMS here, and then this is just a lot of that. We'll go to the start checklist. Okay, so we'll get the Garmin system on, select the map mode and hit OK. And then we'll come down at the FMS and power on our FMC or FMS units here. It's the Collins GTNS or GLX or some shit like that unit. wait for the self-test to finish. While that is doing that, I'm trying to remember what... if you hear your little tests horn silence, here's your trim as well. Alright. Head down here, and we'll hit enter, and enter the flight plan, select, enter. Okay. Alright, so depart. We'll pull this up. We're departing off of 28 left on the Boise 3. So if you actually look at the departure, climb to 16,000 or lower, assigned altitude on the 278 radial. So here's your 278 radial, and then it's radar vectors to our first point, which is Roar. But we'll select that and get that in, and then the arrival. It is a Corey. Let's see if I find it on here. There's a bajillion different. There it is. A Corey. And there's Tiki 4. Tiki 4 is the star. Enter. And the runway 10 right, and select. We'll go into the approach. Approach 10 right, and we're doing the ILS and the bunker transition, and select, enter. Alright, so we'll now verify that this is all correct. Roar, AMFAL, BPI, and then the Juliet 54 airway to LAR. Is just to Larmy. And then Juliet 175 to Cheyenne, direct MCK, Selena VOR. I think I've flown. Oh, you know what? I think this is the Kansas. Selena is where that's at. Okay, and then EOS Nisho, Memphis, and then Montgomery, Corey, and then this is the transition for our arrival. So flight plan looks good. What we can do now is go to the VNAV page and fill that out. So initially we're climbing up to 33,000 feet. Here's this drawn, right? 33,000 feet. Set that on the altitude. Well, actually, we'll follow the SID, the Boise 3 departure, which is climbing to 16,000 or lower. So here's 16,000. And if you look at the actual departure, it is off of the 278 radial from Boise VOR, which is 113.3. If we come down here, 113.3, and we'll transfer that. Okay. Now, if you look, we'll hide this, the yoke. If you look at the MFD, we want it to be, this is ADF1, we want the nav source to be on our nav1. There's nav1, and if I hit this again, nav2, and then this is our FMS. Okay, but we'll change this to nav1, and then we'll change our course to the reciprocal of the radial from the VOR. Alright, so this is off of the 278, off of 28 left, on the 278 radial, it should be 278 because if we're going, if you think about it, oops, we're on 28, it is going to be off of the course, yeah, of 278. So let's see here. I have this in, here's course. If we adjust this to, whoa, 278. No, 278 gets us this way. Yeah, so it is the reciprocal of that. So, minus 2, 0, 9, 8. Is that our course? 0, 9, 8. Okay, I think that is right, because that's the inverse of the radial. Okay, so that's set. And then what I'm going to do here is, we'll change the nav data to the time to go. And then a bearing, we'll put it on our FMS. Okay. So that takes care of that. Alright, so we'll head to the ground operations, remove the torque link. Brakes are on. Ready for engine start. We're going to remove this because we're ready for engine start. And then we'll close. That's good. We'll come up top, seatbelt sign on, arm the emergency lights. No smoking is on. We'll get a red anti-collision light on. Okay. Anti-collision lights on. Boost pumps, all three on. And then yeah, so all of our boost pumps are on, which they are. And then we'll start up the engine. So, number 2 engine, we'll start this up. And what I'm actually going to do is have it kind of like this, because it's a little bit easier to see. We'll hold this, so we'll go 1,000, 2, 1,000. There's the N2, there's past 10, and fuel's coming in. Cool. So engine number 2 is starting up. The sequence is number 2, then 3, then 1. And there's the N2, it's in the green. ITT is in the green. And oil pressure, oil temperature. Alright, we'll start up engine number 3 here. Same thing when I come down and push it to start it. There's 10, there's 12, there's that coming in. ATT is coming up, N2 spooling, N1 spooling. Alright. We'll actually get our heading to the heading of 278. It's weird. I think I have this reversed, but it's hard to see with my orient. It is, yeah. Yeah, it is 278. Okay. Oops. It's been a minute since I've flown instrument. Yeah, that's gonna get us on that. Alright. Oh, I think it's because when it's notated like this, it's not the radial, it's on a course. But, anywho. Good engine start. We'll start up engine number 1. Alright. Good. Okay. Come down here and see how this says inactive. If I hit back, it's going to get this to that. Right. And there you can kind of see the altitude restraints that are in. So I got that. If you look at if you look at the OFP for our top of descent area, like if you look at Fetter, Here we go. It says flight level 390. The first drop is to Jasbo. So here's a Tiki 4 arrival. Right, so we're starting it off with Quarry. Alright. And the first altitude restriction we get is below 310 at Figna. Right? And then above 260 at Jasbo, 280. And then in between 260 and 230 at Dana. So we can actually see how it says that. We'll put in flight level 250. Enter. For that. And then Tiki is below 12,000. Sorry, above 12,000. Because this is below. Right, so this is above 12,000, above 230, below 260. Above 12,000. And then again the same thing here at Banty. Is we want to be below 11,000, above 10,000. So, you know, we could put in 10,500, and that'll take care of that. And then this is all fine, so that's all good. So, alright, fine with me. We'll have this on the nav page. All the engines are good. And we'll go to flight normal and take all of our transfer pumps on. So flight normal. And then there's your transfer pumps. Alright. And we'll uncage the standby. Okay. Radios are on. Transponder. We'll go TARA. Marker beacons. It's fine. Mach trim. On. Compass headings. Fine. Galley power. It's all the way over here. And we'll set that. Okay. Windshield heat. On. That way, we have accuracy on the mag compass as it says. APU shutdown will execute that, and then we'll get the hydraulic standby pump to the auto position. So, to shut this down, you just basically hit the stop button, and then we'll wait for the RPM to hit 0, and then we will get the bleed air off, then the generator, and then hit off. So there's the RPM that hits to 0. So again, bleed air, generator, AP master off. Okay, APU is off. Hydraulic standby pump is to auto. Anti-skid test, so to test that I can push in the brakes and you can see it should be lit green, which it is. Flight controls, we'll turn this on, and in the sim it all works. I think you could kind of test it, see it there. Okay, flight controls are good, hydraulic pressure quantity, you can actually view that here. Green, this is a little bit low, this is green, this is good. Altimeter's fine, flight director, so we'll set this to the toga. Yaw dampener is fine, takeoff briefing complete, taxi checklist. Basically getting ours set for that, and that's all good. We got this to the after takeoff checklist. Basically, flow-wise, it's getting on the yeah. So the rest of this is kind of that, but the after takeoff checklist will come up top here. Get on our taxi lights. That's all we need for now. We will release the parking brake, get moving, come down here, and put up the airport info, taking 28 left. It's right over there. We are going to do slats and flaps 20, and then we'll sync the bugs. And you can see 98.9, climb thrust is 97. Right, so continue this, we'll get a little bit of power here. Let's keep this going. And we'll go get this on. Need a little bit more thrust. Okay. Need a little bit of power there to get moving. Alright, so we're gonna Alright, and we'll go flaps 20. Here the slats coming out. And then here are the flaps. Pretty cool. Alright. Alright, we'll continue this taxi. There's some more corporate jets here. Such a nice looking plane. I'll say that much. Okay, so we're gonna take it all the way down to Bravo 1 and make a left, and that will be that. So we're ground speed about 17 knots. All three of our engines kind of cooking to get us there. But yeah. Supposed to be pretty gorgeous in this area. Hopefully it's a very nice looking departure. But yeah. Indicated airspeed. One of my controls, but we're picking up speed here. I'm gonna idle my throttles. There's your cabin. Kind of looks pretty nice. Alright. there's Delta, Charlie, and there's Bravo 1 all the way down there. Kind of getting a pretty decent speed on the ground here. Alright, and there's one of the signage for Bravo 1, and there it is, Bravo 1, so I'm going to idle the throttles, apply a little bit of brake here, so we come to hold short. And make sure this is all looking good. Alright. Holding short here. Strobe light on, landing light on. And ignition switches to air start. I'll release the brakes here. And we'll get it going. I do want the exterior to be on the landing gear. I think that would look really kind of cool. Like on the wing. Kind of like that. I think would be cool. Alright, and then pitot heat on. Alright, ready to go. Zoom out of here. Okay, so there's the radial. I'm going to hide the yoke so it'll be easier for me to see. Alright, rolling onto the runway. We turned it in a little bit early with this airplane. Alright, we're on the move and thrust is applied. Alright, takeoff power is set. Airspeed's alive. That is normal, we already set that, if you remember. 80 knots. Check. Go. Keep pulling back on the yoke. Alright, and look at the VSI, positive rate gear coming up. Nice. Alright, we'll keep this going. About 10 degrees pitch up here. We're on the radial here. Here's the FMS that's going to start swinging out. Trimming up here. Okay. And here's the nav mode. It's going to hold that radial. And we'll put it into autopilot engaged, yaw dampener engaged. It's going to hold it in pitch mode. And we'll put it into climb, and it's going to climb out at 250. I'm going to move the heading to the south. We'll say we'll move the heading to 150. We'll move this into heading mode. It'll turn left, and then as we accelerate past 160, we'll retract the flaps and go to our slats here. Okay, and then once we are accelerating through 180, we'll go ahead and retract the slats. Beautiful. That really is beautiful. Oh my god. That is pretty. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. And here you can see our bearing pointer for the FMS. So we're going to put this to 030. Okay. And it's really going to be northeast, so kind of like a, yeah. 030 heading should be good. What we'll do is we'll go ahead. Nope. We'll go ahead and go to the flight plan and see how it says to Mansec. We'll go to the next point here. So we'll go direct to, I think it's BFL that we're going direct to. Roar. So there's Roar, and move the heading this way. We'll hit enter, and then we'll change the course to FMS and ARM nav mode. And then we'll get the bearing pointer out. We'll get the weather radar on. Go, air start can come off, taxi light can come off, landing light can come off. They're passing through 10,000 feet here. Very nice. Looks absolutely stunning. And seatbelt sign can't come off. Okay, lovely. We're climbing on out, and then our climb thrust, I think we said, is 97.6%. So I'll bring the throttles back just a little bit. And just like that, we're climbing on out, and headed on our way to Fort Lauderdale. So quite lovely. And just like that, I will catch you all in about 4 hours or so. Until then.